What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Taylor Cut Tutorials. It is Jordan, Taylor Cut Films here. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic and one that I did a lot of on my last video, sound design. Before we dive right into the topic, I just want to acknowledge the sponsor of today's video, Canva. Canva is an amazing resource for creating graphics, animations, Instagram stories, templates, treatments, all that fun stuff. I actually use Canva to create my new YouTube header. Take a look here. I also use them to create a pitch deck for a brand called Ritual, which are some vegan gummies. Before even making videos for clients, sometimes you have to send them a pitch deck or a treatment to let them know what your idea is, so that way they can get a better understanding of the vision. Canva is an amazing website and resource to do that, so I highly suggest you check them out. The link for Canva is in the description. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. The reason why I wanted to make today's tutorial is because of the last edit I recently made, which is a campaign video for DJI. Now, the way we went about making that edit is a little bit different than usual. What I mean by that is we did all of the visuals before doing any sound whatsoever. The reason why we did this was I knew I wanted to create original music for the piece. So similar to traditional feature films, we did what's called a picture lock. So I completed the actual visual structure of the edit, not cutting to any music, having no sound whatsoever, just watching the visuals to make sure that the match cuts worked correctly and that you can see a cohesive visual story without having any sound in it. The next thing I did was, once the visuals were quote-unquote picture locked and I knew that the timing and the structure of the edit wasn't going to change, I then sent out the edit to our composer so that way he can place a score and original music underneath the entire piece. That way when there's a comedic moment, the audio can drop out and it would all match the visuals exactly. A looming figure approaches from the distance.
New challenger approaching!
Test your luck.
Delete, delete, delete.
Well done.
You know what? I got a better idea.
Outstanding. It has begun. Round one. Fight.
The next step then, since the score was going to take about 2 to 3 weeks to create because it is a 16-minute video, was then creating sound design and sound effects for the entire edit. I knew while putting the visuals together, I wanted it to have a feel like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I wanted to show what it looked like to actually be writing a script and then see that script come to life. Exterior mountain, sunrise. Clouds begin to roll in as the warm morning sun rises from behind the mountain. We hear birds chirping in the distance. Through the process of finishing this campaign video, I'm excited to announce that I got to create what I'm calling Taylor Cut Sounds. It is a sound library that not only has sound effects from this past video, but also includes all of the sounds that I've used in previous videos before in the past. It has ambient noises like being underwater, birds chirping when being outdoors, jungle day, jungle night. It also has some more signature sounds of mine, like children laughing that I recorded in India, which I place at the beginning of all of my videos. It has the classic clock tower bell noise, which I place at the beginning of my videos as well. It also has a bunch of custom risers that I created. For example, a roar transition that I use, which has the lion's roar that you can place right before a beat is about to drop, or if you need help transitioning from scene to scene or for song to song.
Come on, everybody, here we go!
I'm excited to announce the launch of Taylor Cut Sounds, and if you are interested in getting them, the link is in the description as well. Okay, so let's go to a screen recording of the computer now so you can see the different sounds and WAV files that are available within Taylor Cut Sounds, and also show you how I did all of the sound design and sound editing for the DJI campaign video as well. Okay, so as you can see, this is the project and timeline for the DJI campaign. Let's start at the beginning of the video and then we can work our way towards the end. First thing I want to focus on is the transition and the sounds used to enter and exit the screen. Now this part of the video by far is the most complex in terms of sounds just because it is over 35 different audio layers stacked on top of each other. Something important to note when adding a lot of sound effects on top of each other is to make sure that you can still hear each distinct sound without them overpowering one another. Now the process of this is just called sound mixing. A great trick I love to do is applying surround reverb onto the actual audio file. This is a built-in plugin within Adobe Premiere. You could just go to the Effects tab and search surround reverb and actually drag and drop it onto the audio file. Then what I like to do is hit edit and select somewhere not here. Also, a great trick that may go overlooked is just simply applying crossfades to the beginning and the end of the different files. For example, for this noise here, it starts off pretty loud, so by applying constant power, you could hear it gradually fades in. All of these different layers stacked on top of one another gives you the effect like you're going into a screen. Another trick that I did here was took a voice note and then pitch shifted it so it'd be 3 different notes. We got an F, an A, and a D. And then when you stack all 3 on top of each other, it gives a nice motif which makes me feel like I'm going in and out of a screen or in and out of a video game type world. Now what I went ahead and did, since I knew this was going to be a constant theme throughout the video, was I exported and created 3 different custom tones which I added into the TaylorCut Sounds library that you all can use for your videos as well. The first is called Screen Warp Riser. Next, I created Screen Warp Whoosh. Now here's an example of how to use the warp whoosh sound effect. Alright, this is pretty good. As you can see, we're still coming out of the screen, but you don't need that build and anticipation, so the whoosh effect is just much quicker. Finally, I created just Screen Warp. Now, we aren't actually seeing entering or exiting a screen, but by still hearing that tone, you feel like you're still in that video game type world. Now, what I also created and stacked underneath Screen Warp is Time Freeze. Again, all of these sounds are available in TaylorCut Sounds. If you want to go ahead and download these, again, the link is in the description. Now, this sound effect is great if you love shooting in slow motion, or if you love playing around with time remapping or speed ramping. So as you can see, we start moving fast backwards, and then all of a sudden, a character enters and starts doing a front flip in slow motion. So to really emphasize this, the time freeze sound effect is great. Another great sound effect example is the bell clock tower, like I mentioned earlier. As you could hear when we entered this establishing drone shot, the bell clock tower hits at the very first frame. This really helps to establish and make you feel like you're at the scene. Another sound effect I used heavily in this edit, and which I added into the TaylorCut Sounds library, is the noise of typing on a keyboard. Since the storyline of this edit is me writing or typing up a script, every time you see me at the keyboard, you actually hear the sound effect of me typing as well. Now this is just a very simple addition, but it makes you feel like you're in a grounded reality and a part of that very scene. Also, another simple yet effective thing to do is layering ambient noises underneath everything. That way this could be a constant sound that's always being heard, so that way if voiceover is being faded in and out, there's not that dead silence. Since the scene takes place in my apartment, I layered city apartment ambience from the TaylorCut Sounds library, and then what I did was what's known as an L-cut, when the audio of a scene begins to fade in before you visually see it. And now, as we're transitioning out of the parkour chase scene, you could hear the noises and ambiance of being in a city. Since I knew I wanted the edit to feel like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is ultimately based on a video game, I also wanted to pull references from Spider-Man into the multiverse, since it feels like we're bouncing to and from different realities. With that being said, the way to establish this was adding a Marvel-esque type intro into the beginning, and then I created and stacked different glitch sound effects to foreshadow perhaps we're going to be going in and out of different digital realities. I really love the distinct noise and tone of the 3 different glitches. In case you're wanting as well, I created and titled 3 different multiverse glitch sound effects which are also available in TaylorCut Sounds. Now, a commonly used sound effect is what's known as a riser, like I mentioned before. A riser is simply a noise that continues to build and crescendo until you reach a specific point in your visual edit or until a hit or boom sound effect comes in. I pretty much use 2 different types of risers within this DJI edit, and both of them are available within TaylorCut Sounds. First one is riser 1. And second is riser 2. An example of this is when you know you're building to a specific moment. In this specific scene, I was building to the moment till entering the warehouse, and then the next hit was when we see the 2 dancers, and then the verses text comes in. So that's the first hit. And the verses is the second. Now, once you have your riser applied and lined up timing-wise until the exact moment of whatever you're building anticipation to, that's when you can then apply a hit. A couple hits I really love using within TaylorCut Sounds are bass hit and glitch trailer hit. Both are incredibly dynamic and definitely make you feel the impact of whatever you are building to. And the final scene I'll show you, and probably my most favorite to put together, was the Scott Pilgrim inspired fight scene. I wanted to pull sound references from Mortal Kombat, Super Mario, and even Power Rangers to really pay homage to some of my favorite video games and fight sequences. I did create a fight sound effects file, which is also available in TaylorCut Sounds. Within here are a bunch of noises you can use when putting together a fight scene. Now, there's a lot of things I added underneath here to really build the suspense. First is this constant heartbeat underneath. This makes you feel like the pressure is on and we're continually building to something. Next, I added individual whoosh noises every single time someone threw a punch or a character moves. I also added grunt sound effects so you could hear the struggle within the fight. And lastly, not only do you hear the cloth moving, but you also hear the sound of a whoosh of a fist every time it swings and goes in for a punch. And finally, to bring it all home, I added a noise of coin sound effects to make it feel like you're leveling up in a video game. I personally love all of these video game noises, so I added that to TaylorCut Sounds as well. There's a reward type sound effect. If a character does something good, for example, in this fight scene when he's defeating the enemy, you hear that noise. There's a teleportation type sound effect, leveling up, and finally, a power bar sound effect. Now go ahead, watch and listen what it all sounds like when put together in this final fight sequence.
Final round. Fatality. Finish him!
Ultimately, when doing sound design and sound mixing, you're in control and you get to dictate what the audience is focusing on and listening to. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Once again, if you are interested in downloading my sound effects, the Taylor Cut Sounds library is available. The link is in the description. I hope this could help bring your visuals to life. Also, if you haven't checked out yet, Taylor Cut courses are available now, and there are 2 full seasons you can watch. Each episode is about 20 minutes long, and you get access to everything for just one payment of $15. Once you pay the $15, you not only get access to the 2 seasons, but you also get access to all future episodes as well. I'm trying to make the price point affordable because I know it's tough times right now, so I hope that this can truly help. The next tutorial topic I'm going to cover is color grading. I know a lot of you have been asking about it, so I'm excited to do a deep dive into how I color grade for the different scenes so that way everything matches together as well. In the meantime, if you are interested, the Cinema Pack is also available on my website. I'll include a link in the description for that too. Now, what's exciting about the Cinema Pack is it does include all of the LUTs and video filters that I use to color all of my videos, but the way we did it is we broke it down per camera type to make it simple for you. So there you have it. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. That way you can be notified when I post new videos. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a lot more videos here on YouTube to try to help. And please comment below on other topics you'd like to see me cover, other ideas you'd like to see me share, anything of that nature. I love engaging with you all, so please let me know what you think. Well, I hope everyone is happy. I hope everyone is healthy. I'll be seeing you all very soon. Hakuna Matata, and yes.